Among the many points used by left-wingers in modern political discussions, there is one that they repeat that is far more annoying to hear than any other. And as we all know left-wingers, that is truly something. This point is a non-argument. It is more ridicule than an actual point. And as you already know by reading the title, what I'm talking about is the left's habit of plainly calling things other people care about unimportant. Calling them such without ever giving a good reason as to why they aren't. An empty non-argument, yet still a brilliant strategy. A strategy that is very infuriating for us who it's used against. So infuriating I'm making this video because it annoys me so much. Where I explain not why the things it's used against are actually important, because that is widely covered already, but instead attacking it at its less covered core, exposing why it is faulty, yet also why it is a great strategy to employ. Stating that something absolutely is in a certain way is a common part of life, as we all live in the same world and therefore see and feel the same things. But the further we get from what we sense the easiest, and the further we go into the metaphysical, the more subjective everything seems to be to us. This is what has birthed the modernist view of nothing having rhyme or reason to it, and that the world is simply a reasonless fluke. This is obviously wrong. That something is out of our hands doesn't mean that it doesn't exist outside of our heads. These things exist in perfectly object ways, just like everything else. And when it comes to meaning, it is just as subject as anything else. What causes people to have different opinions regarding it is the relation to and place in the metaphysical dimensions that meaning exists within. Like how you can physically place yourself in a position where something can seem giant, or one where it isn't even visible. Both are true positions, and that is the ethos of why claiming what someone else cares about doesn't matter is moronic. It is a lack of metaphysical object permanence. I do not feel it, therefore it must not be. Everything has meaning. Everything has almost infinite meanings to it. In most part, what gives one depth is just how close we hold that meaning to us. That is not to say all meanings are equal. That is not to say that all meanings are equal. Just that all that aren't inherently against the world's order have inherent value to them. Now, what if we are generous and say that they in actuality mean that the things we care for are just of a lower metaphysical size, and thus aren't very important, and especially not so compared to what they find importance in? I know all my chuds out there watching this realize the stupidity in that, but I did say we were generous. Maybe just drag story hour is more important than the culture and traditions formed by the lives of millions of people across thousands of years of history. Maybe just, I don't know. The way we can measure this is by how much it encompasses and how strongly it positively affects what it encompasses. So on our side, let's choose nation and compare it against, on their side, LGBTQ rights. Nation encompasses more people in specific populations than queerness, but worldwide, if we assume that they are about 3% of the population, there are more homosexuals than all except 1 or 2 nations, the Han Chinese and Arabs. At a deeper level than just pure human mass, a nation affects the life of its members far more than what homosexuality affects the life of queers. Or at least, that's how it is for the ones who don't make it their entire personality and are annoying about it, who are luckily a vast majority. Nation influences all aspects of life, to such an extent that it even influences how queerdom is viewed, in many facets of how it functions. So nation 100% wins in the department of size, but it is still the lesser of it in positive impacts. When it comes to which has more positive effects, nation also wins, because nation is the best, yay! The reason why nation is more beneficial is because it gives far more. It helps more needs get actualized, because one of the corest things nation is, it's a community of people who care for you because you're a part of the same greater family, who will gladly help you get all your needs met and will give purpose and direction to your life, to live for the community. But I hear a leftist saying, the LGBTQIA+ are also a community. To which I respond, I said LGBTQ+ rights, not community. But because I love good and God, I will again be generous and change it to LGBTQ+ rights in community. Well, the first issue we meet is that the queer community is only a small fraction of any given populace. In a national community always encompasses the queer community. In a national community always encompasses the queer community. and gives more benefit simply because it is more and fills more important roles in society. But I'm also romantic, so I'll be generous once more, and we will go to another world where a queer land of several millions exists. Here we meet the issue of where did everyone's parents go? Let's not think about it. Let's instead think about how the steep population decline that's going to happen in some decades is going to make everyone's lives terrible. Or let me once again show my generosity, and let's say either automation has been finalized or majority of the population are bi and end in heterosexual relationships. Still, in the latter one there will be steep population drops, and that's ignoring how it basically isn't queertopia anymore. And in both, it doesn't even matter, since a queer society would just be a queer nation. And the national aspects would fill even more than the queer ones, because nation simply encompasses more. Since that even with half a saint's generosity, nation still trumps on both fronts, means that the meaning, purpose, importance, or whatever you want to call it, of nation metaphysically weighs and feels more. The only points where leftist causes have more metaphysical sides to them is when it's something that is economical instead of cultural, which really doesn't bother me, cause I'm, and I hate to call myself this, left-wing, economically speaking. Please like and subscribe, this is what I put myself through for you guys. Or some normie YouTubers speak like that. To state something is absolute is common, since all things work in absolute ways. But to say that something is absolutely in one way when opposing views have other factors in their perception of it is absolutely foolish. It is the same as saying that only one side of a piece of paper truly exists, and that the supposed other side only exists with deception. It is something so utterly wrong that no view can change that it's incorrect. I despise left-wing causes, but do also think that left-wing causes have no importance. Yes I do, because I think they are evil. But if we are to throw out notions of evil involved with left and right-wing goals, and we only take them for their metaphysical weight, I still see no way you can logically conclude left-wing causes are more important. I might be too radicalized, but the left's causes all seem hollow to me. They seem only logical with a heavily distorted understanding of the world. Inclusivity. How is that more important than things being in the way they're meant to be? Equality. Again, same reason. Anti-hierarchy. Same once more. Multiculturalism. Destroys every culture involved. Feminism. Again, destroys everyone involved. Anti-oppression. Their notion of oppression is completely insane. Personal, quote-unquote, freedoms. Once again, destructive. I might just be too radicalized into my own ideology of world perfectionism, but I can only see the whys as to left-wing causes. Oppression is bad and should be fought. Alas, what they perceive oppression and liberation to be is just wholly incorrect. It is not an invasion of personal liberty that you shouldn't be able to get an abortion. It is an invasion of personal desire into society that you can. It is a prevalence of selfishness. And even if you really forcibly say, yes, these things are good, how does the individual being able to change their gender, I'm being generous guys, outweigh the importance of a healthy family? Is it really reasonable to say that a person being quote-unquote themselves is more important than keeping a child's upbringing stable? I might be too radical, but I might also just be right over the people that don't believe in inherent good, but still color their ideology with being moral. This entire video has been extremely generous, because even at a starting point, most left-wingers have the modernist view of nothing having rhyme or reason to it, yet still somehow delude themselves into thinking it makes any sense to have that view and still say, me good, you bad. It's as simple as seeing that to see that they are wrong. For meaning to even be imaginable, it inherently has to exist as a force in some form outside the human mind. Moits unet da gamoits eret gaumaragius sakadvelos.